Also new to our studios, 4 people were taken to an area hospital late last night after losing control of their sports car on the south side of town.
Officers were called out around 10:15 to Yorktown and Rodfield Road after the driver sped past a stop sign. 4 people were inside a Camaro when they flipped and skidded into a watery ditch. Investigators say they suffered only minor injuries, which could have been worse if they were not wearing seatbelts.
No tickets have been issued as of yet. The road was wet at the time. Construction plans are underway in that area to improve where that accident happened, including better lighting.